now Bilal has filed a $3 million lawsuit against Jada, claiming that she basically threatened, it comes across like a threat, like a...
Federal agencies don't step into celebrity breakups unless something far bigger is hiding in the background. So when a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, a near-fatal warning, and rumors of undisclosed recordings pulled a famous Hollywood power couple into federal focus, the story stopped being about marriage entirely. What emerged instead was a pattern that looked less like personal drama and more like damage control gone wrong. Within weeks, two men with close access to the couple surfaced, not for money, but for protection. One alleges he was pressured into silence and threatened after refusing to sign a confidentiality agreement. Another claims he discovered medication, medical paperwork, and a cryptic handwritten message left behind his hotel room shortly before being dismissed for reporting it. The legal filings landed almost back-to-back. One seeks $3 million, describing an overseas incident that narrowly avoided becoming fatal. The other centers on wrongful termination after a private space was allegedly breached under disturbing circumstances in Las Vegas. Publicly, the response has been lopsided. Attorneys dismiss everything as fiction, while the other side says nothing at all. But here's the part that doesn't sit right. Evidence
that Bilal says that Jada went up to him at a party back in November 2021 and said, if you keep talking about Will and about me, you're gonna catch a bullet. You're gonna catch
like that isn't misplaced by chance. Threats don't escalate over idle rumors. And federal interest doesn't ignite unless investigators suspect interference, coercion, or the existence of material someone desperately wants buried. The real question isn't who cheated, or even who lied. It's what's recorded, where it's stored, who else has access, and why the couple's inner circle may be the only ones who truly understand how far this reaches. Because this isn't about love collapsing. It's about control cracking. The $3 million legal bomb didn't surface randomly. It detonated on December 30th, 2025, when Bal Salam, someone who'd moved inside Will Smith's inner circle for nearly 40 years, filed suit. Long enough, he claims, to understand not just the public image, but what stayed off camera, or more precisely, what was never meant to be seen. On paper, the case centers on intimidation, pressure tactics, and an attempt to force a non-disclosure agreement during Will Smith's 53rd birthday celebration in September 2021. Off the record, sources whisper that the real issue isn't paperwork at all. It's recordings, allegedly not harmless.
Prove, right, that there was a retaliatory termination, that he went forward with these allegations, that he said that he felt unsafe, that he felt that there was some sort of harassment that was in existence here, and that complaint was the basis of his termination. If he's able to connect...
The kind people avoid naming out loud. The kind that would explain why a former family confidant suddenly felt the need for arm protection while abroad in Colombia. The complaint itself pulls no punches. Salam alleges that during a private movie screening, he was isolated and confronted in the presence of 7 others. What he describes wasn't a casual warning or heated argument. It was an explicit threat. According to the filing, he was told that if he continued speaking about private matters, the consequences could be fatal. That's not the language of a broken friendship. That's the language reserved for someone believed to hold leverage. The timing raised even more eyebrows. The confrontation is said to have occurred shortly after the Oscars incident, when public attention was fixed elsewhere. While headlines focus on viral clips and late-night jokes, the lawsuit suggests that behind the scenes, efforts were allegedly underway to ensure no additional voices broke rank. The accusations go beyond personal intimidation. They paint a picture of a tightly controlled ecosystem.
So according to the complaint, this all happened in March of last year while the violinist was on tour with Will Smith for Smith's global tour for his latest album based on a true story. And according to the complaint, there was this intrusion at his Las Vegas hotel room. He came back to his hotel, he says, and found that there was no forced entry, but that someone had entered the room and left a number of items.
One that allegedly depended on silence to survive, and the personal business at the heart of it, according to those familiar with the claims, had little to do with tabloid-style relationship drama. Instead, the whispers point toward what happened inside private residences, who was allowed access, and what may have been documented once the doors were shut. And if those recordings exist, the lawsuit implies the danger wasn't gossip leaking out. It was proof. Then there's the NDA itself. Salam alleges he wasn't simply asked to sign it. He says he was boxed into it, with the unspoken understanding that refusal would carry repercussions. But that's where the story starts to unravel. If the goal was merely to shield a private relationship, why stage the demand in front of 7 other people? Why turn a confidential request into a public confrontation unless the intent went beyond silence and into shared liability? Witnesses don't protect privacy. They spread risk. According to the lawsuit, once Salam declined, the pressure didn't fade. It intensified months later. He claims the situation escalated to a terrifying level, an alleged road incident in Colombia that left his driver with permanent brain damage. The filing doesn't soften its language. This wasn't misunderstanding or falling out. It describes a campaign of intimidation designed to break resistance. What's equally striking is what hasn't been said. The response from Jada Pinkett Smith's representatives reportedly avoids addressing the most disturbing alleged statement altogether, instead dismissing the case in broad legal terms. That kind of answer doesn't calm fears. It raises them. When a claim involves a threat to someone's life, silence on the specifics tends to draw more attention, not less. Behind the scenes, industry chatter suggests the real alarm bells rang when Salam began alluding to recordings in interviews, not abstract hints.
Receipts for retraction and false defamatory statements. This is from the Hirsch, Litcherson, Young, and Polk.
This letter is filled with a bunch of lies and falsehood. In that letter, it says that
this office represents Willard C. Smith II. It has come to our attention that you recklessly and maliciously spread out white lies about our client and his wife in an interview published on or about November 8th on YouTube and again November 14th on 2023 interview on Instagram. And each of these 2 interviews amongst an avalanche.
But pointed references, multiple discs, visual material, identifiable individuals. Alleged footage that, if real, wouldn't just contradict a carefully managed public image. It could invite criminal scrutiny. That's the kind of material that doesn't just derail reputations. It threatens liberty. And perhaps the most unsettling question circulating now isn't about what's on those discs, but timing. If Salam truly knows what he claims to know, and if others were implicated, then his continued visibility becomes its own mystery. Because in stories like this, people don't usually get this far unless someone else was expected to vanish. 5 days later, a second lawsuit surfaced, and instead of clarifying the situation, it blew it wide open. Brian King Joseph, a professional violinist who toured with Will Smith, filed a personal harassment complaint that read less like a contract dispute and more